let's start with our horizon line. Now remember, this is your eye level, so if you want to look down into your room, you need to move the eye level up. If you want to look like you're standing in your room, you want it in the middle. And if you want to look like you're laying on the floor looking up, you want to move it down. So I'm going to do the most common stuff, which is in the middle. If you don't have a ruler, you can take a piece of paper and fold it in half and use the edge of the paper. Sometimes I fold it in half twice. Or you can take a book, almost any book will do, and you can use the edge of the book. Okay, so because we're doing 1 point perspective, we're going to start with an X here. Now you guys have done this with your, so this is our one vanishing point. You've done this with the boxes. But I wanted to still kind of help you transfer the boxes into a room. Now when you drew the boxes, you drew a form out here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that box that you drew, wherever you drew it on your paper, and we're going to enlarge it and pretend that we're moving inside of it. So you have to think we're going to be drawing the back wall of the box, and then the sides of the box are going to come out this way. So in drawing the back wall of the box, this is the back wall of your room. You're deciding how big you want your room to be. Now remember, the stuff inside the room will tell you how big the room is, so you don't have to make this huge box if you want a big room. But let's say you want a really tall ceiling, then you probably want to make more of a rectangle that's tall this way than this way. So let's just start with what would be average, which you're going to see for most people. Now if you notice, I'm kind of trying to make sure things are even, make them look nice. We also want to start with the box because we're going to use the corners of the box to find the corners of the room. And I actually think I'm going to switch to a see-through straight edge so you guys can see what I'm doing. It's not quite the cleanest, but it will work. And I'm going to use this because it has a 90-degree angle to kind of like cheat. Instead of eyeballing, I will actually have a 90-degree angle. You can do this with a book too. They usually have pretty decent 90-degree angles. So now I'm going to go from this corner all the way out to here. Now remember, we're inside the box. So this is the back wall. We can't see anything behind it. So let's line it up. So this is the part we can't see. You don't have to draw the line in that area, but sometimes it helps. Oops. Going from one corner of the box to the vanishing point. Okay, from one corner of the box to the vanishing point. If you need to pause this video and follow along, you can. That's fine. That would be a level 3, right? If you feel like you got this, you totally understand everything, you can watch the video for help in case you get stuck, but you can modify things however you want. So we are the inside of our box. We don't need our horizon line much anymore. We will need this vanishing point for a lot of things. I am going to keep the horizon line on the side in case I have a window. Now if you guys notice, actually I might leave that. I'm just going to lightly erase it so I know where it is. There's going to be a lot of this where you draw something, you stop, you erase. You draw something, you stop, you erase, just so that you don't get super confused. So this is an average room. Now if I shrunk down this wall, the room would look longer, right? It would look much longer this way. Or if I elongated the wall, the ceiling would look taller. So you kind of have to decide what you want to look. This is about the average room. You walk into a room, not super big, not super small. The trick with 1 point perspective is that you are standing right here on this side. You are over here. And you are looking this way. And this wall is parallel to you. Parallel meaning even distance, right? Which means anything that is facing you will look basically pretty even. Let me see if I can find something. So for example, this currently is facing the camera. And if I move it, you can start to see the side of it. But it is in 1-point perspective. You're seeing this side flat towards you. So if I wanted to draw this in 1-point perspective, I would draw this side and then I would have everything else go to the vanishing point. So let's use that in the context of a bed. Or you can even, think you'll see it even easier with this. So I have my dice. You could start seeing the side, but if I was to draw this, I would draw this square, and then I could even draw the dice as normal, but the side, the depth, has to go to the vanishing point. So we're going to start with, let's say you want a fridge in your room, because why not? We want to make sure our fridge lines up against the wall. So this is our floor. This is the corner of our room, and we're going to have it go up the wall. So I'm lining up the corner of my fridge with the corner of the room. And then I will draw the side of the fridge that is facing me. So I'm going to have like the actual side of the fridge, the part without the doors, face the viewer, which is where you are sitting. Okay, draw the side of the fridge as normal. Okay, then I'm going to go to the vanishing point. Then I have to decide how deep I want this fridge to be. Okay, I don't want it to go all the way to the end of the room. Maybe I do. If I want it to go all the way to the end of the room, I want it to end here because this is the corner. Nothing can go past this. This is a wall, right? So we can't put anything past this line that goes to the vanishing point. Everything has to go straight up from there. So let's say this is a double door fridge, because why not get fancy? We got $500 million. Okay, so if you notice, this went over that line a bit, so I need to fix it. There we go. Okay, so let me erase all the lines we don't need. We don't need any of the room lines anymore because the fridge is in the way of us seeing them. So now let's say we had a light up here, which we can do as an oval. Then this part would be light, this part would be slightly darker. I might have handles on the fridge. Even the length of the handles will go back to the vanishing point because I want to know how long the second group of handles should be. So I'm just going to do a little line to figure out how tall the second handle should be, because it's going to be shorter than the first handle. The whole trick with creating depth is that as things get farther away, they get smaller. So we want to make sure that even things like this door is smaller than this door because it's farther away. So anything that is farther away is going to be smaller. So we put in, not a mini fridge, we put in a giant fridge. And now I can go in, I can curve corners if I want a rounded fridge for some reason, because why not? I can add extra details, I can add color, I can add shading, I can add whatever I want and erase the stuff I don't need. I won't require you to do a mock-up with this one because it is so labor intensive in all the planning and design. I will require you to do thumbnails with it, which you kind of started with your brainstorming. But so we have this. Now what about something complex like a chair? Let's say you want to do a chair. Now a chair is made up of multiple blocks. We have an armrest, we have an area that you sit on, which is another block. We have a backrest, and then we have another armrest. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes that all relate to each other. It seems super complicated, but we're going to start with the idea that one side should be facing us. So let's start with the armrest. That's facing us. Let me just switch to this guy. I'm going to push it up against the wall again. Remember, this is the corner of the room, so I can have the back of the armrest right here. The other thing with this is that you can actually look up how other people are doing 1-point perspective for a bed, or 1-point perspective for a fridge, or a 1 point perspective for whatever, a basketball court, or some of you want like bowling ball alleys and all that. I'm going to have this go back a little bit. I'm lining it up. I'm just not drawing the line all the way through so I don't have to erase the whole line. But I'm drawing it far enough back that I'm not going to run out of detail. Because what will happen is that these two boxes on the armrest are actually going to be drawn from the same box, right? And then we'll just add cutoffs. So we'll do that in a little bit. Now we have to draw this box. So let's draw the side that's facing us. It's going to be in a little bit because we want the armrest to have some thickness. It doesn't need to be super thick. I'm actually going to angle it a bit so it looks like more comfortable than a 90-degree angle. Most chairs don't actually have that really intense angle. Okay, so now we know the top of our armrest, we're going to make it this thick, we've decided. Wherever it hits here, that's where I'm going to go down because that's where the corner is now. And that means that the armrest that's back here needs to be smaller than the armrest up here. So let's finish making the top, the backrest. Now this is where you decide, do you want an armchair, do you want a couch, all that stuff. You notice this top part is much thinner than the arm because it's closer to your eye level. Okay, now if I need to make the back end of this, I just make sure this is parallel. It needs to be exactly the same angle. So what I do is I line it up and then I just move it down. And I say, I think I actually want it to be like here. I want it to be more of like an armrest situation or an armchair situation. So I'm going to draw it all the way down. And then we're going to use this line from the box to create the actual armrest that's coming off. And I'm going to use where the box and, well, let me see, that would make this go straight back. And then that's what intersect here. Okay, where these two marks, that's where the new armchair starts. Okay, and we want the back of the armchair to be skinnier than the front. And then we're going to let this go straight down. So let's decide how tall we want it to be. Put it like right there. And then let it go back at 90-degree angles. Okay, so this is a beginning introduction to this. Now I can go in, I can erase all the lines I don't need. Again, you are encouraged to look up how to draw stuff. Now, if you are able to do this without looking up things, that's a level 4. It means you completely understand perspective and how to use it. But just because you're not understanding how to do this without instruction doesn't mean you're not doing it right. It took me a long time to figure out how to do this without looking up any suggestions or help or anything like that. So if you feel the need to look up something, don't be embarrassed. Don't feel like you're bad at this. It just means that you need some more practice and some education in it, and that's totally fine. The other way that you can push yourself to a 4 is by putting some real effort into your design. So for example, right now you see me curving out the chair, making it look more fluffy. I might add some other details, right, to make this look like I'm putting effort into it, that it's my actual dream room instead of just an assignment I did. If you're putting that extra effort into it, even if you had to stop and look up how to draw an armchair and stop and look up how to draw a fridge, you still can push yourself to a level 4 by pushing your practice to higher and higher quality. So If I was to shade this, I would shade this area because I drew it curving, so I just shade the under part. Another trick, you can take a random cloth and use it to blend, or you can roll up a piece of paper and use that to blend, or you can take a paper towel, which I thought I had, paper towel and smudge. That's my personal favorite, is a paper towel, because they rip less than paper. So that's how we can blend. I hope this was helpful for 1-point perspective. I will also be doing 2- and 3-point perspective, so if you ended up watching this and you wanted to do 3-point perspective, hopefully you will go back to the page and actually look up how to do 3-point perspective.